Example 2, we're still with Yana. She's still grocery shopping. This time she's buying bananas. She's buying 3.6 pounds of them, and they're 40 cents a pound. So, the question is, how much did she spend on those 3.6 pounds of bananas? You will have seen the visual on the previous slide that outlines what it looks like. The yellow part is our 3.6 pounds, and the 40 cents part is the blue that went across the bottom. The green part where they overlapped is, in fact, how much she will pay. And we'll get to that in just a moment. It's smaller than the original number, the 3.6, even though we're multiplying. So we're getting smaller even though we're multiplying. And that has to do with the word of. We're trying to find here 4/10 of 3.6. Don't worry about that too much right now. We'll get more of that when it comes to fractions. So, we're going to do standard algorithm. Now there's a couple of ways that I could do this. I've said in the past that I usually do the longer number on top. The longer number in this case is, of course, this number here, which is 4/10. 0.40 is longer than 3.6, so I could set this up like this. 0.40 times 3.6. Did you notice something? I have not lined up the decimals. When you multiply decimals, you do not need to line up the decimals. Should have mentioned that in the first example, but I didn't. I'm mentioning it now. You do not need to line up the decimals. Why? Because you're going to ignore their existence until the end. Seems pretty simple. Ignore the existence of the decimals. They do not exist. These are not the decimals you are looking for. So I can do it like this. I will get a fairly simple task here. Ignore the decimals and do the math. Let's switch colors. Purple pink thing. 6 times 0 is, of course, 0. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 0 is, well, 0 plus 2 is 2. Now, because I'm not multiplying by proverbial ones here at tenths, I'm multiplying by a factor of that times 10. I'm going to put my 0 here. Even though we're decimals, I'm still putting that 0 there. Remember, the decimals don't even exist anymore. Who's talking about decimals? I'm not talking about decimals. 3 times 0 is, well, 0. 3 times 4 is 12. I'm ignoring this 2 now. 3 times 4 is 12. 1, 2. 3 times 0 is, again, 0. Plus 1 is 1. And now I will add that up. I should have switched colors halfway through. Oh, well, 0 plus 0 is, well, 0. 4 plus 0 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. And 1 plus 0 is 1. Now, I need to get my decimals. How many decimal places do I have up here? I have 2 up here. Switch colors again. I have 2 up here. 1, 2. And I have 1 here. So every single digit behind a decimal counts, even if they're not in the same decimal. Oh, hey, we're talking about decimals again. Remember that decimal point? Yeah, we're talking about it now. So we have 2 up here and 1 down here. That means a total of 3 digits behind the decimal. That means we need to have 3 digits behind the decimal in our product as well. Ready? Start on the right. 1, 2, 3. Which means our decimal is going to go right there. Which means that our answer is 1 and 440 thousandths. Which, if you've been paying attention, you know that we can take this 0 and go, meh, don't want that. Which is the same as $1.44, like that. How much did she spend on her 3.6 pounds of bananas? $1.44. Now, there's a slightly faster way to do this. I say slightly faster because it requires less writing. So, again, you can take the zeros off the end of things, so why don't we do that at the beginning instead of at the end? That'll take care of this whole column here. That's an unnecessary column. Let's go ahead and get rid of it for now. So instead of having the 3.6 on the bottom, I'm going to put the 0.4 on the top. So, on the bottom, I mean. 3.6, see that okay? Yes. Times 0.4. Now, basically what I've got is 36 times 4. 4 times 6, 24. 4 times 3, 12, plus 2 is 14. How many decimal places do I have behind my decimals? 2. Far fewer steps. Why didn't I do this 0? I'll show you why I didn't do that 0 in green. I'll put a 0 here because I'm multiplying by 10 times more. 0 times 6 is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. Let's add that up real quick. 4 plus 0 is, of course, 4. 4 plus 0 is still 4. And 1 plus 0 is, of course, 1. Same thing. So all that green, unnecessary math. If you can remove a 0 from the end of your decimal, do so. Unnecessary zeros at the end are unnecessary, except for when you're talking about money, in which case having 1 is okay. Having 2 is okay. 2 decimal places past the 2 digits past the decimal is okay for money. But for this, also, before you get a little flustered and overwhelmed, if this is what you're doing, do this. But if this makes sense to you as well, do this. If you're not getting answers that make sense with this, go back to this. It's okay to do the long way. Really, it's okay to do the long way.